Welcome back, everybody, to LARPs and TARPs. We are once again talking about Echoes of the Ancients, my little trip into Broceliande. I am joined once again by Kerrie.
Hello.
And Tom is back on good behaviour.
Bonjour.
That may be
For
changing
now.
very shortly.
I do the French.
You do the French.
Who wants to do the French?
You should be a French pirate for Hoist the Colours.
Oh,
You shouldn't be a French pirate for Hoist the Colours.
my outrageous accent.
Outrageous, yeah. Definitely outrageous.
So yeah, back from once again, we've returned. I was kind of venturing into Broceliande, seeing what that hellhole was like. Hellish. I did reference you a couple of times at the event, Nietzsche.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean,
only good vibes.
How could he not come up when the topic
Yeah.
of Vallorn?
In fact, you kept coming up because I kept being like, "Oh, I know someone that lives not lives.
I live
He lives in the Brock. He moved in. Didn't believe in the Vallorn Boar house. Terrible
Nietzsche
investment.
from the block.
Nietzsche's just like, well, I didn't think it was real, and the estate was cheap, so I
Cheap
bought
property values.
bought a house. Found that the Vallorn were real.
He's got to have somewhere to sell his smut from, hasn't he? Honestly.
Oh, Nietzsche smut from the Brock.
That could be when the mass reclamation comes in. I just have smut ready on the dock. A whole smut empire for those horny sailors.
Is it all those big titty dryads?
The tales of the big titty dryad are spread far and wide. I would love to hear some Nietzsche Broceliande smut.
I should really come up with some.
Do you reckon we can let our listeners come up with Nietzsche Broceliande smut, or do we not want to read that?
I want to read
I'm
that.
happy for readers to do that, providing it's just the tip.
That's what it's called. Just the tip, Nietzsche and Broceliande.
Nietzsche under the bark.
Under the bark after dark.
Yeah, under the bark, because Nietzsche's now a Briar.
Not yet.
Coward.
What?
Anyway,
Yes.
why was Nietzsche coming up? Sorry, we got really sidetracked then.
Because
That's
you were in
fine.
the Brock.
Because you're in the Brock, and I was in the Brock. You came up literally just because you were nearby. So I kept being like, I've got 20 knights and a few dogs and a friend somewhere in the woods, but they're not here for some reason. But yeah, so
I was off doing an illegal dog race.
with my dogs, I came back and like, Nietzsche, why are my dogs so tired?
We're down at the track.
There's no track in Broceliande. So we kind of came to the end last week of me monstering as a Dryad. And as we got to the end, it was like, right, we're taking a quick break between like fighting. The players are having a bit of a rest, which means we can have a bit of a rest. But anyone that has been a big Dryad monster, if you're tired of it, take the kit off. And if anyone wants to be a Dryad, step forward. And obviously, there was a lot of people that wanted to be a Dryad.
You must have been exhausted
Yeah.
holding those titties around.
Oh,
It looks
backache.
heavy.
You've no idea. It wasn't, to be fair, because it's all like foam and latex and
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
But it was cooler to get it off. And then they were like, right, the next encounter is going to have orcs in it. So if anyone wants to be an orc, go orc up and then get back.
Did you finally get to play a Druj?
I didn't get to play a Druj, not for very long.
Ooh.
But we were basically, as I kind of think said last time, there was Druj in the area wandering through. That was what the big battle was in the morning. And as kind of in this breakdown, I went back to camp with my hand, like hand in the air. I'm invisible, don't see me. And I brought some stuff for Druj kit. So I brought my orc mask. I brought like a green tunic, a brown leather mantle, which is kind of like their iconic trapping and stuff. And I had all this gear ready. And I was like, right, I'll go back to the site. Didn't want to wear any armor because I was exhausted.
Have a break.
Yeah, exactly. Have a Kit Kat. And there was lots of Freddos being handed around. I felt like actual crew, because you know how the crew have loads of Freddos. At
I mean,
Empire?
I didn't know that.
Oh, well, there you
but
go.
now I want to crew.
You get Freddos.
Is that where our
Paid
Empire
in
money's
Freddos.
going on the payment of extortionate
That's how
Freddos?
much
Exactly.
Freddos cost these
Yeah.
days. You have to do manual labour to be able to get a Freddo now.
Each Empire ticket pays for one Freddo for a crew member. So yeah, no, I got my orc kit, went back, and it was very funny because I was like, hey, I want to be an orc, but I don't want to have a chainmail and stuff, and I don't want to be too squishy. What kind of job can I do that's different? And she was like, do you want to do physic or do you want to be a mage? And I was like, oh, physics seems easier to learn. She goes, great, you have all the physics skills. And I went, I don't know what the physics skills are. She went, okay, you can be a mage. And I was like, I don't know what the spells are. Like, I don't know these things.
Suddenly our simple beat stick mentalities are coming out.
Yeah, my chainmail comes off. I'm like, oh, God. But I
Who
put
am I under this chainmail?
The physics skills, there's not like it's literally just the physics skill, like the
but I don't know how it works.
physics. You just pretend that you're healing people.
But I didn't
right?
know that.
Yeah, okay.
I was just like, what?
Well, you should have listened to me talking about my experiences at the hospital.
I'm so sorry.
We were too busy ripping into you.
That was like a year ago, though. I will.
Yeah, you let me off.
Yeah, I'll let you
Thanks. I
off
appreciate it.
this time.
All right. I'll
Yeah.
be on my best behavior. I'll be a physic next time. But yeah, so I got my orc kit off, and I had enough stuff. I had a hood, a mantle, some other shit. Basically, I got enough stuff together to have mage armor. I had 6 personal mana, and she was just like, cast whatever spell you feel like. I was like, cool. Mass venom. No.
I was gonna say that's a bit of fast and loose. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
no, it's kind of like repel, paralyze.
Yeah, like the basic.
Entangle.
Swift heal, entangle, all this. It was really fun repelling people away.
Yeah, because that's a bit different. You don't usually play with magic.
Yeah, no, it was the first time I'd ever cast a spell.
Yeah, so that must have been fun.
But basically, there was a creature called Boris.
He's here.
Oh
Boris-
no!
Money.
Boris is a Vallorn spawn Hulk,
Ooh,
which I
that sounds
believe,
cool.
from talking to the advisor on the Vallorn, is what happens when an ogre dies and then gets overtaken by Vallorn and then becomes this massive
Like an ogre
creature.
husk.
Like an ogre husk, yeah. And it was this massive thing. The kit was like it felt like they were on stilts, but it's just their head was huge, and they put on like a tall person. So like it was like a ghillie suit almost.
Yeah.
Big, massive fucking boots, big old claws, and then a big set of shoulders with a massive trunk head. And then they were just kind of huge. I won't say how many hits it was. In fact, I will, but Alex, bleep this out.
Yeah.
It was, they said between...
Oh wow!
Ooh.
And they have a ref with them, basically, who was like there to tell them, count how many hits they're on, and also dryads can heal them.
Ooh,
So
that's
if they
nasty.
get enough people away, the dryads start to heal the Hulk
Yeah.
back up again.
That sounds really intimidating.
Yeah. Now the funny thing was, we were playing Druj, who were trying to get a slave back. We'd lost a slave and we wanted to get them back. And funnily enough, we run into some Vallorn. So whilst we're trying to get a slave back, some Vallorn happen, including a Vallorn spawn Hulk, and we run away from it. The plan is for the Imperials to see us running, be like, they were here to hunt Druj because they hear there's a slave that needs to be saved. And they were like, Druj, and chase after us. And then they see the Vallorn. And it was so funny because we all got prepped. I was a little goblin mage. I borrowed someone's stab safe mage staff.
Nice.
And we were kind of like, they were like, right, players are here. Go, 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 go. And we start to jog up the field and you can hear them go, oh, the Druj are there. And they start to move towards us. And then you just hear them go, what the fuck is that? And you just see this Lord Spawn Hulk rounding the corner. And they're like, holy shit. And the Druj's like, yeah, fucking you take it on. So whilst all the Imperials are wrestling with that, I start running towards to try and get the slave. And then, again, every time like a Vallorn comes near, I'm just like, repel! And flying the Vallorn at the Imperials.
That's hilarious.
Ooh, I like that. A free way.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. But they were kind of ignoring us because there was this massive, like 7-foot tall beast coming towards them.
Yeah, I like the idea that they're really fighting each other, and then you guys are just there, like, just stirring a bit of shit up.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the equivalent to the cave troll in the Fellowship, where it's just like hitting goblins, hitting the Fellowship, just going for
Yeah,
everything.
basically.
Unlimited strike down.
Ooh, that's nasty.
Every time it hits someone, strike down.
So what is strike down?
You have to go on your ass.
Oh,
Or
well,
no,
but depending on, because you said that because heavy armor in the
So because of the conditions, you could be repelled basically. So you
Okay.
have to run away for 10 seconds.
But that makes sense though if this big ass ogre husk
whacking
is
you
like
out of the
whacking
way.
you with a
Oh, it was beautiful.
What
to
weapon
watch.
did it have? Did you say? Sorry,
Big hands.
just his hand.
Just his hands. Just were smashing people, which must have been so fun to do. Just absolutely wallop people.
Oh yeah.
And then they had a ref kind of walking around with them.
I
And
want to
then-
go marching around with big foam hands and hitting people. That
It's
sounds
so
great.
much fun. Join the skirmish crew.
You know what they say
Yeah.
about big hams? Big gloves.
Big hams.
Ooh,
I was gonna say.
if you're cooking ham, I'll have one.
But yeah, so we see that, and then with some great roleplay. The person who was playing the slave did really well. She was just like terrified, and I was like coming towards, like get back here, get back. And then there's Imperials like come here, come to us, and you can just see she was just like absolutely terrified between them. But every time I tried to get near, more Vallorn would come by, but I'd be like repel, like trying to get.
I
to
love
her.
the idea of you doing your goblin voice on
I
the
was
field.
like little goblin Druj, be like
You gremlin.
It was great fun. And then we started to harry, because then they had our slave, and we were like, well, not having that. So we were like chasing after them. I ended up getting cut down because I'm but a wee mage.
Yeah.
But it was a great fun. The Imperials were successful. They got to fight this massive fucking Vallorn creature. And that was the end of my monstering.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Are you jelly you didn't get to fight the big creature?
Are you jelly you didn't get to be the big creature?
Definitely jealous that I didn't get to be the big creature. I am a bit sad that I didn't get to fight any. So there was another big Vallorn creature on the Sunday of the battle, but I was monstering for that. And I was a bit sad I didn't get to hit the big Vallorn creature.
You wanted to be in the picture hitting the Vallorn
I would
creature.
love to have, like, big sword, like, whacking this massive creature.
But that would have been a good photo.
Yeah, it would have been good fun, but then we were fighting Druj, which is like a classic Dornish thing at this point.
Yeah.
We're always fighting fucking Druj.
Yeah.
Could be worse. Could be the Jotun again.
Yeah, could have been. But the Navarre were fighting the Vallorn, which makes sense. And then I think Navar and Dawn were the biggest nations, so that were present. So
It would make sense, Navarre.
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't think we could have fought on the same day, and the Navar have to fight the Vallorn. So
Yeah, I think I only saw one leaguer on the list when you were showing me. I was like, well.
there were 2 leaguers.
Oh, fair
but
enough.
one of them had to go home ill.
Oh.
Which was really sad because of the conditions. I will tell you, remind me at Songs and Stories that night, that leaguer sang a hilarious song, which I will come back to. Very raunchy, it was hilarious. So yeah, that was the end of my monstering journey. Got dekitted, came back from berry picking, and it was like the longest shift, I think. So I think it was like from like 2 till 5. Like it was like the good portion of
You got your cardio in then?
Yeah. Oh, being a Dryad, let me tell you, it was insane. It was nice to be able to actually run though, because when you try and run in heavy armor, like you feel like it's
Is
weird.
it like running in a dream?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
exactly. It's like your speed's capped, and you're
Yeah.
like, this doesn't make any sense. Why can't I? Like you're trying to sprint as hard as you can, and
Yeah.
you're just not going anywhere. But no, it was really good fun. I would recommend if you ever get the opportunity
To do
both
some
of-
monstering.
I just love
Yeah.
the idea of me being a Dryad and out of breath. It's like, come back, Imperials.
But then you can start to go really slowly.
I was going to say, I feel like I do lots of like,
Yeah.
wiggly movements.
Yeah,
Like,
kind of like you that thing
like
where you
branches.
like before you look at something, you move your whole body to look at it first. So kind of like
no, actually, I'm going to do really like sharp, jagged movements, like
break
something
dancer
off of
Dryad.
a horror movie.
like I said, the best thing was kind of like slow walk followed by a sprint. Because
yeah,
like, they're
where
like,
try give them false sense of security that you're a slow moving monster, and then just dart at them.
yeah,
Oh,
100%.
that sounds good.
Biggest regret from monstering: didn't cleave enough mages. Kept forgetting that. I could
Well, you
cleave
got
mages.
you got to cleave 5 of them. So.
To be fair, you did almost kill a lot of people. So
Well,
yeah.
let's not beat around the. But I did kill some people.
Now you're just being
but,
greedy.
but rules wise, that was a bit dodgy, I guess. I have to say though, with that one slip up, the safety from echoes was fantastic. Like they were always very kind of like, for some reason, you can't fight at the bridge because it's a fucking quagmire. So for some unexplained reason, you're not able to approach the bridge. And for this reason, you do like don't step over this. They were very much on it.
That's good.
Everyone was very good with like any time freezes and man downs. Like the safety was really good. I was really impressed with all that. And I had a nice briefing and got some Freddos.
Yay, Freddos.
Went on with the rest of my day. So then it was kind of that like lull period, like
Bit of a
Yeah.
chill.
like a big battle. There's
Bit
kind
like
of
downtime.
yeah, like soft plot happening, but not really very much.
Yeah.
Had a nice kind of walk around. I got my armor back on almost immediately because I knew there was going to be like minor skirmishes. So the rest of that evening was going to be stuff like Vallorn getting too close. You need to thin the herd. Was basically what a lot of the evening ended up being.
Sounds like you practically lived in your armor there.
I spent a lot of time in my armor. I think the only time I wasn't wearing armor was when I was monstering.
Yeah.
Because when I woke up, you're like, oh, yeah, when I woke up, battle, then it was monstering. And then afterwards, I'm like, right, well, there's going to be skirmishes happening. So I put my armor back on. And then, like, after, they were saying, like, the Vallorn don't like it when it's dark. So after about 10, we'll be safe, was the kind of thing. This is not true. But it was kind of like the idea was that we were fine, kind of thing. We could take our armor off, and that's why we kind of all chilled and sat around fires. It was really nice and lovely. It would be cool, I think. Obviously, health and safety, I can imagine it'd be difficult, but it would be cool to have like a threats till timeout kind of situation.
Yeah.
Like from an OC, I guess, self-care point of view, that probably wouldn't be good.
Yeah, like you already forget to eat and drink enough.
But the idea of being in camp in the pitch black and just looking out and thinking there could
Well,
be
I think
anything
there
in
is
there.
one that we heard about at LARPCon that Tavern Tyrol told us about. It's one in Leeds. It's like a horror
Oh,
event.
yeah.
24 hours long, and it's like constant. Like
Yeah, no, I don't think I could do that.
no.
Is that the
That's
way
fair.
you're going to outshine as Kerrie and go to that one?
Oh, I love a horror film, but living in one, maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah. I feel like from the perspective of kind of like Empire, where I know what's going on, and the horror is going to be like. But I don't know what horror LARP would be like, because I don't know if it's a jump scare horror LARP. Because when we did Flying Lead, it wasn't like scary.
I mean,
This
it could be
Flying Leg's
like
good.
it could be like the York Dungeons or something, you know, where it's got a creepy vibe, and you know you've got the odd jump scare, and
I don't do jump scares.
I imagine it just being like combat, but instead of having a battle, you just have like combat could happen at any time, and it's a smaller thing.
Yeah, but then what if it's like a haunted house kind of thing? I don't vibe with them. That's not my thing.
No.
Just give me a demons escaping from hell.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I thought the same thing about Flying Lead Nightmare, though. I thought, oh, that sounds really scary, but actually, it just sounds like it was really good.
Yeah, 100%. It was so much. Oh, sorry, no, actually, iLARP's crap.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
ILARP is
don't go to
actually
ILARP.
Dog shit. Don't bother. It's absolutely horrendous.
It's great to hear about, so definitely listen to the podcast
Listen
about
to us
it.
talk about
but
it.
it's too intense
We'll
in real life.
save you.
We're
We'll
taking
save you
Yeah.
from
bullets.
Because, like, you know, we know the organisers. We're like, oh, we'll help them out, but don't bother.
Oh, yeah.
I know they don't listen, so they don't worry about
It's
it. but-
fake news that they're selling out every time.
Oh God, yeah, no, it's all just it's all.
Yeah,
a
we
publicity
definitely
thing.
aren't on, like, we definitely don't have alarm set for tomorrow for second breakfast.
God no!
Yeah.
What?
No.
No. Second breakfast ticket sales are going on.
Oh, yeah, that's
in
next
like
week.
weeks.
Yeah,
Don't worry about
yeah.
it.
Even though by the time this episode comes out, they'll be sold already.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Oh yeah. But yeah, don't bother. ILAP's crap.
Love you, Kitty and Johnny.
But yeah. But yeah, the idea of having just kind of like Vallorn can wander in the camp in the woods, but there was also the nice kind of icy reason why the pub was safe, because like the
Yeah, I
heralds
really
came
liked
and-
that little
Next time,
story.
Yeah.
do the pub tank like I recommended.
That was so funny. I was listening back to that. It was like the idea of us taking the goose onto this field, being like
Like
loopholes,
Howl's Moving
baby.
Castle. Put it on chicken legs. Baba Yaga.
It's Baba Yaga's pub. It was the goose.
Ooh, I
It
like
was the drunken goose. We could have had goose legs and flapping onto the field.
Imagine.
Just
with like a big bell that was going, oh!
and then like halberds out all the sides. Just like
I love it.
But yeah, so I had a little bit of mini downtime. Had some food. Kind of wandering around. I was chatting
Ye old
to
pot noodle.
Ye old pot noodle. No, I continue to scrounge because my food plans had fallen through. I was chatting to. It was really nice to chat to a guy who I had never met before, but I'd spoken to them before my first event about like my kit. So it was nice to be like, oh, it was nice to meet them. I met someone who is in. Right, I don't know how this works.
Okay.
In Navarre,
Yeah.
there's stridings and steadings.
Yeah.
But then there's also groups of stridings and steadings.
Eh?
So like I think the LARP noob, because they're in the same group of stridings and steadings as the LARP noobs. So they're in the Embercast group.
Yeah.
Is it Embercast they're in? No,
Uh,
Entwined Paths.
Right.
Not Embercast. They're in the Entwined Paths group, I think. But they're not in the same. They're not in the same striding. I don't understand how it works. It's like a conglomerate of stridings and steadings because there's a bunch of them there. So it's like we're different stridings, but we're all in one group. And I was like, I don't know how.
I
it's-
will investigate.
Yeah,
E1.
find out.
Yeah, because
Right.
I want to know. I
Well,
want.
we are fucking more than half Navarre now, so
Yeah.
we should probably find out. this
Yeah,
kind
we
of
probably
stuff.
should know about the Navar.
But yeah, so basically they were in the same group, the same
Faction.
whatever. Yeah, they were in them with. Apparently they've spoken about in my podcast as the guy from LARP Noob, so I was chatting to them, which was really lovely. And then there was a guy who I'd been monstering with who was there, so just like a nice little downtime chat, just kind of how things are going, eating food, and then it was time for some more extreme gardening.
Ooh.
So a couple of things happened. One was, do you guys know anything about the Heirs of Truniel?
Not too much.
No.
So the Heirs, we've kind of spoken briefly on what Truniel is
Yeah.
because on the podcast.
Were they the mages that caused all this shit?
No, so the Heirs of Truniel were a relatively recent phenomenon of a load of Briars who decided that they wanted to bring back Truniel. They had somehow worked out how to work with or manipulate the Vallorn and live with them. They lived in harmony with the Vallorn, basically, and they were trying to bring back Truniel using the Vallorn. So that was like a whole thing that we had to deal with. I think it was after the summer or the autumn, they'd basically been dealt with. There was like 1 or 2 left, but the threat had been well and truly uprooted. But there was one that was nearby the camp that we had to find, and there was a price on their head. So we had to keep an eye out, and we had to get this heir. We had to. I think it was like if we got them alive, we got paid more than if they were dead. So we had to hunt down this heir of Truniel, and obviously they were going to be surrounded by a bunch of Vallorn. So now I got to fight the Vallorn.
Ooh, nice.
It's getting to dusk time, so it's like spooky hour. We've not got long before archers can't be there because I made a friend there who was an archer, which was nice. And it was basically the same as what I've been doing to people all weekend. Just like Vallorn charging at us. I think the worst moment was when I kind of got caught out. Was I'd been kind of pulling out further and further away, kind of dealing with the stuff, dealing with threats. And as I was walking away, stupid thing to do from the battlefield, something clatters into my back. Yeah. And I can just see Dryad claws wrapped around me. And I've just like, on my peripheral vision, I can feel them kind of pressing into me, like fingers wrapped around me. I was like, oh no. That's when I went from like 12 hits to like 2. Yeah. I had this thing just wrapped around me. I was like, shit. Kind of got my shield, managed to push them off, smack, and just ran. I was like, oh, that was not good. That was a bad time. Really funny. Like it was like not like I wasn't in danger or anything at any point in real life, but it was very much kind of like this clatter of this creature into me, just seeing the spines. I was like, I now get why everyone was running away from me so quickly. This is terrifying. I managed to get back, and I found there's someone who was in House Defrost, one of their yo folk. I was kind of like, I went to them. I was like, hi, there's a lot of spikes in my back. Can you just check it out? Am I all right? And she looked and she went, yeah, you're fine. You're all good. Just let me work on this. And then we were there for like ages while she was pulling spikes out my back. Oh, she's like, you're absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. You're like, does it feel fine? She's like, don't you worry. I've got this. Which I loved. Her vibe the whole weekend was just very panicked. She wasn't souped. So I was also worried about that because she goes down 30-second bleed count. But it was just this, all the photos reflect this just panic in her face of like, what's going on? Like everyone's so close to death. Yeah. But she was a joy to roleplay with her. She came to, I think she's been summer and autumn. It was nice to see her again, which was really good fun. And then we managed to get the heir of Truniel, but they died. We got their head. We dragged their head back to camp.
Do you get to keep IC money, or is this just going to the funds for Broceliande?
Yeah. So I got, over the course of the weekend, I got 2 crowns.
Yay!
So I got paid a crown for the assassination of the heir of Truniel, and I also got my crown that was being given to non-Navarre by someone in, I don't know if I can say the name, basically a Navarre who's kind of like in charge of research and stuff and has been trying to drive all this. They're giving 1 crown to every non-Navarre.
Yeah, to try and recruit other nations.
Went to Broceliande. Yeah, they were like, thank you very much for coming. Have a crown.
It's an extra tricky little bonus. A few extra points.
Yeah, exactly. I got a crown and a lore sheet. I went to Broceliande and all I got with this sheet of paper, the crown.
And a fuck ton of herbs.
So many herbs.
I mean, that is pretty good.
Our herb banks are full.
I'm going to be a very busy apothecary.
Yeah, I'm just going to be like, here you go.
What's it, random guesstimate of like 4
To be fair,
thrones?
if you want multiple of the same potions, I only need to make 1 fizz rep for you.
Yeah, this is very true. But we did, I think if you kind of estimate it at a crown per herb, which the price fluctuates. It might
we're not meant to talk about an official price. This is a guesstimate.
Oh, yeah. Shit, never mind. Yeah, vaguely a crown, maybe. But we got like a lot of herbs. So I'm very happy with how many herbs we got.
Yeah.
We're trying to work out how to do it in our house, kind of like fairly, but we're going to try and work that out so we can get the benefit from it as a house.
Guild tax.
The guild tax.
Just think of that meme of like the Tory, put the money in the hand.
Just tell the rest of your guild it's a trickle-down economy.
Everything that goes into the box.
I've got this idea, lads. It's called Reaganomics.
Nietzschenomics. Everything that goes in the box goes back into keeping the guild alive.
Everything that goes in the box goes into Nietzsche's pockets.
Or Reiner's goose whisper addiction.
Yeah, or to pay for
the Harlequin's drink.
The Harlequin's drinks.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But yeah, no, I had a great time. Killed the Heirs of Truniel, which, swings and roundabouts. I wasn't bothered. I was there for, as I've said all weekend, Tristan was just having a good time running around. And then, I think I spoke to you, right. Next thing happens. There's some Druj. Spooky Druj.
Druj is doing Druj?
Right. Tristan was very upset about this. Morgan, of course not. I can separate myself from my character. There's 5 Druj, 30 Imperials. And everyone was like, don't get too close. Form a line. Don't let them draw you out. I was looking at these Druj. There's 5 Druj. Open field behind them. I was like, we could just kill them. Let's please just kill them. It's like, but what if there's something else?
Like,
then the Druj will be dead.
Just for more context for the people listening, you're saying this, and for something about the way you're gesturing, it reminds me of Michael McIntyre.
Oh, great.
The Druj.
The Druj.
The Druj. You see, there was the Druj on the field. Bouncy
Flopping
fringe.
my hair.
Yeah.
No, there was a bunch of there was very much a kind of Dawnish impotent rage of just being like, why don't we just charge?
Yeah.
Because we can.
That impatient changeling.
Yeah. I was having a little changeling strop
about
the fact I wasn't allowed to run off and chase the Druj.
Like a poorly trained dog.
Just barking at the sides.
Benton, get back here, Benton.
Let me have them. Benton.
For God's sake, Benton.
Especially because a Druj that morning had taunted me for not getting close enough to hit him, and I was like,
"Oh yeah,
I'm just getting more and more angry. Just let me kill this.
Let me stab it.
Let me kill a Druj." And then Vallorn arrived. I was like, "Well, now we've got Druj and Vallorn.
Could have got rid of the Druj.
Druj could have been dealt with."
I wonder if there's going to be fan art of Doggy Morgan. Well, Doggy Tristan.
That could be 2 very different things.
Oh no.
Oh, Christ.
Pay extra for adult Patreon content.
I think we asked for Nietzsche smut.
Now you get Tristan smut.
Yeah, that's not. Never the two shall meet.
Okay, now someone is thinking that.
But yeah, no, so dealt with the Druj-ish. The Vallorn arrived, and then we were like, what was it? We'd killed enough Vallorn. It was time to get off the field. And we had a very enjoyable time of backing off the field and watching the Vallorn eat the Druj.
Oh, well, there you go.
So we got to sit there and watch.
So it was worth it in the
There
end.
was this Druj was like, yeah, and then looked at us right, and the Dryad was just standing there, and then you just saw the crew having a great time of just attacking the Druj.
It's like when there's a dickhead in a horror film, and there's a really scary monster in the horror film, and the dickhead gets eaten by the monster.
And you're like, problem sorted itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Never mind. So maybe I shouldn't have been so mad because the problem sorted
just
itself.
you
out.
singing, it's the circle of
Life.
life.
You watch as the orc rises as a Vallorn, you're like, that's more problems.
Yeah.
Druj invaded the camp at one point.
Oh.
Ooh.
So whilst we were fighting in the field, I can't remember when this was, but whilst we were fighting in the field, the Druj were kind of pushing. There was some Urzeni were defending the camp. I think this was the morning, actually. The Urzeni were defending the camp, and we had these horns. And 3 horns meant get back to camp, the camp invasion. And we heard boop, boop, boop. And then a bunch of us would just fucking run. Not all of us, but like a pack, like a fucking pack of Dawnish sprint. And you see the Druj harrying. There's 2 Urzeni there. And then there's the rest of as a bunch of people arrive. You watch as the Druj kind of skulk back a little bit. Oh no, they're going to get us. Just kind of pushing towards this Druj. Ended up getting my traumatic wound for the weekend.
Hey!
What was it?
It was what was it? It was quite scary because it was your arm is full of searing pain, and you can't use it. If you have not had this dealt with within an hour, see a ref.
Ooh.
So an hour obviously is a long time, but usually they're by Sunday, in the next 4 hours. This was if this is not dealt with the next hour, see a ref, which means if I'm dead. During an hour. And then the surgeon, the chirurgeon, the physic or whatever, who'd been dealing with me all weekend, was just kind of don't worry about it. It's fine. You're absolutely fine. Bone's just in the wrong place, but don't worry. I'm good.
At least you didn't have the bees inside you.
Bees in your bones.
Bone bees.
Not the bees.
There was so much confusion about the bone bees. I still don't understand. Because someone was saying there isn't actually bees in your bones, but there are the bone hives with the bone bees. I'm like,
The what?
so hang on, there are 2
Sorry,
types?
what?
The bone hives? You know about the bone hives?
No, I don't know about the bone hives.
Neither do, well, there's these bone hives with bees in them, I think. And the bone hives produce a thing that's good for people like apothecaries. I don't fucking know. There's these hives, and then if you get,
I'll ask the apothecary.
but I think
guild.
if you get stung by the bees in the bone hives, you get bees in your bones. But I don't think you do get bees in your bones. I think you just think you've got bees in your bones. It just really fucking hurts. And now I'm confused as to whether or not there's even bees there. Are there bees in the bone hives, or is it just like a confusion? Because
I could listen to you say bees.
Bees in your bones?
Like, I don't know how you're saying this without stumbling.
I've just got bees in my bones. My bones full of bees.
Yep.
I remember seeing people with bees in the bones come out the sentinel gate, and this one person runs through, drops their weapons, drops to their knees, and just starts screaming. And everyone's like, "What's going on?" So I went, oh, "She's got bees in her bones." I went, "This never heard of it before." I went, "She's what?" She's got bones. She's got bees in her bones. I'm like, okay.
No.
That's the thing that I'm gonna go home.
Shall we brew our own anvil beer called Bees in the Bones?
Oh, bees. Oh no, because we'll do mead because it's honey.
Yeah.
Bone bee mead.
I love it.
It'll make you feel like you've got bees in your bones. Is that a selling point? Is that
That
good?
depends on whether or not
It gives you a buzz.
Yeah.
It'll make you feel like you did have bees in your bones. But
I
you
just
don't have bees in
imagine
your
when you
bones
say
anymore.
bees in your bones.
Beans in your bones.
Beans in your bones.
When I imagine, you say it because I can't say it. When you say,
Bees in your bones.
yeah, I just think of like someone like shimmying, like doing a little dance.
It says got bees in
like
my
a-
bones. Got
ooh.
bees in my bones. I'm
I
dancing.
think this might be the biggest tangent we've ever got.
What about the bees in the bones?
Yeah, the bees in
The
the
bone
bones.
This is my
bees.
favourite tangent.
The bees in the
we've ever
bones, the
gone
bone bees, and the bean hives. Bean hives.
on. Bean
Whoa.
hives. So that's where beans come
Anyway,
from.
there was literally no bone bees there, so I don't know where that came from. But yeah, so we were talking about the bone bees, and I still don't know what they are. I don't really know what's going on. I just know that somewhere in the Empire there's bone hives, and also you can get bees in your bones, but I don't know if the two things are related.
Hey, listeners, drink every time we said bone bees.
Yeah,
Bees in the
go
bones.
back.
They'll die.
Drink mead every time we say the word bees.
But yeah, had a really good time. Killed some Vallorn, had a whale of a time. Saw my friends monstering, got to kill them.
Ooh, lovely.
There's a very funny moment where we'd been given the brief to be very strict with your executes.
Yeah.
So you have to take 5 seconds to do your executions. Now, my style had ended up being kind of like the idea was that I was pushing my sword down their kind of back and then ripping it out through.
Yeah.
To kind of like pull apart the plant matter. But a lot of the time it's like, in the name of the Empire, for love, for glory, for virtue, for dawn, I execute you. You have to do it for 5 seconds. But we were told to be very strict with it. And I saw a friend of mine on the ground. And someone went up to them and said, in the name of the Empire, I execute you. And then this person ran off. My friend, still on the ground. They've not put their hand up to go respawn. I see them and I'm like, they're coming back up soon. So I go up to them. I do an execute. I start to walk away and they're still crouching. And I went, ref. And my friend goes, that wasn't 5 seconds. I was like, that was definitely 5 seconds. And he was like, no, it fucking wasn't. So I was like, fucking hell. Did it again. He still didn't stand up. I looked to the ref. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? He was like, I'm still alive. I'm like, oh my God. Don't do this to me. He did it for a third time and he was like, yep, cool. And walked off. I was like, motherfucker. I was just like, you piece of shit.
Empire trolling it.
Oh, it was so
I'd have done
funny.
it for like 20 seconds. Just made him like sit there and wait.
Just like soaring through his neck with a sword. But then the next time I saw him, like I did the execution, I went into his ear and went, that was 5 seconds, you piece of shit. Off you fuck. But no, had a real good laugh monstering, and then the evening came, and then had a lovely songs and stories.
Cute.
So we came back. So I really liked songs and stories as like I think I said this last time, but there was
In the smaller group.
like
yeah.
a real small group. We did some nice chatting. I was chatting to my summer mage friend about the Summer Realm and the Eternals, and being like, "Hey, can the Eternals do this thing for me? Can I have this?" And they were kind of being like,
Summer, glory, glory.
glory, summer, glory, summer. And they were kind of like testing Tristan to see if they do I trust this person? Are they going to do the right thing? I think I did well in the end. I think I'm going to
nice.
get help. Some summer things are going to happen in the winter.
Summer loving,
Having a blast. That was really wonderful. And then we did songs and stories, and I think I was saying this, so this league person that was there, and everyone kept shouting to them, being like, "Do the lineages song." And I was like, "What's the lineage?" She was like, "No, it's too dirty." I was like, "What is this lineages song?" And they kept getting harassed, and eventually they were like, "Fine." They kind of had this beautiful leaguish dress. I think they were a changeling, and they stood there, and they sang this song about how they had someone of every lineage, basically, and they were going through the problems of being with the different lineages. I think the first, I won't spoil it too much, but the first one was about a changeling, and she was like, when they went down on me, they poked me in the eye
Oh.
with their antlers. It was just like little funny things about kind of all the different lineages. It was very funny.
I do want to hear that song.
That sounds very
This-
entertaining.
If you can, I won't tell you all the verses because it's really funny. The last verse really made me laugh. But there was they sang it twice because people were like, do it again.
Yeah.
So if you can find someone to sing the lineages song for you at Anvil, I highly recommend it. It was really funny. And then we sang the Navarre did their classic Navarre. We're really sad that Truniel's gone. Oh, we're so sad. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm bullying the Navarre. It actually was quite emotional. But like there was this kind of like the whole, Navarre's whole thing is like, we once had this great empire and now we're trying to reclaim it. And it was more like, oh, we'll get it back.
Give me a Marcher Corn song.
There was no marcher. There was one marcher there. We kept shouting the marcher, the marcher.
The Marcher.
Every time I said it, he put because I'm Dawlish. Every time he pointed me, I was like, "You fucking shut up! Don't you fucking say that." I think they remember of the militia as well. And then we were talking about Briar Business.
Ooh, you
Briar
did your Briar
Business.
Business.
So I'd made friends with some Briars,
Yeah.
and they were on Briar Business.
Of course.
The Briar Business was basically
Was the Briar Business related to the bees and the bones?
the Briar Business was not related to the bone bees, the bees and the bones. The Briar Business was separate to the bees and the bones and the bone bees. But basically, there had been someone had done signs and portents, which is a ritual that gives you a little sneaky into the future. And we'd seen something about the Summer Realm, and something would happen. Someone had seen a sun appear in a grassy glade, and Vallorn were killed by it. And I believe this was referencing, so there was a Vallorn camp invasion earlier in the day, and in the middle of it, summer heralds burst out of nowhere and cast mass venom and just killed them all
Nice.
as they arrived through. My summer mage friend had been dealing with them. It was the gardener I told you about last time. My summer mage friend had seen them, and everyone who sees these creatures who've got like skeleton masks, red robes, and you see everyone's like, shit, and starts to run towards them. My summer mage friend's like, don't kill them! They're our friends! It's fine! But yes, there was kind of signs and portents, but then we were talking about how there was a Regio nearby. Regio's concentrated magic, the summer Regio, where people have been going all day, and there was kind of a mission to go in, and they were planning all that for tomorrow. I think there was some more Briar Business that I wasn't privy to because I'm not a Briar. But every time I just saw them running around being little scamps.
Those scamps. I'm jelly.
Scampy little Briar. You should be a Briar.
Be a Briar.
I'm not interested in the lineage life yet.
Get on the Briar Business. I also saw that like sometimes like the lineage doesn't take as much of a hold like on your personality, so you could still be Nietzsche just with bark.
Yeah.
Get on it.
Never.
Has Twig messaged you?
No.
Twig, I need to I'll send this episode to Twig.
Actually-
tell them the timestamp and be like,
I did tell a lie. They said, get on Briar Business. Profit.
get on Briar Business. Get on Briar, but Nietzsche Briar. You heard it here, folks.
Briar Nietzsche.
Breachy.
Breachy.
Suits you.
That sounds like my Brie brand.
I feel like at one point in his life, Nietzsche has sold Brie.
He's a cobbler.
I feel like he said it was
roots.
Brie, at least.
Yeah, he said it. Oh, God.
Finest toad cheese.
But yeah, had a lovely evening watching the Briar Business happen. Had some nice chats with people. Loads of people did some lovely songs. And then time out got called, and I was up till 3 a.m. Oh, no. Briar came up to me at Songs and Stories.
Yeah.
Put a hand on my shoulder. And I think I said last episode, I told them I would give them all the coin in my pocket for a bottle of mead.
Oh,
I said,
yeah.
Done. Empty pocket. Felt a hand on my shoulder, and I heard someone go, I'm a man of my word. And I looked around. There was a full bottle of mead.
Oh.
And they were like, I was like, you, come here. It was really nice. That was lovely of them. So I had like my drink for the rest of the evening. It was called Venom. Was the meat? So
Interesting.
hopefully I'm fine.
Yeah.
I had a whole bottle of Venom.
Removed your soup immunity.
Oh no, that's not super. And then you had songs and stories with out of character songs and stories, and we were singing the longest Johnson sea shanties until
love
3
it.
in the morning, and none of us could really remember the words. So there was lots of kind of like.
Night and day.
So, but it was lovely. Had a really nice night. Chat to people that I kind of had. You see those people around Empire, and you're like, I know your face.
Yeah.
You've clearly been here. And it was nice to chat to some of them. Sang some funny songs. and then went to bed once again, drunker than I usually am at an Empire event at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was the end of Saturday. It was lovely. It was
Nice.
really nice.
I don't know how LARPers do it. They go from like heavy lifting 10 o'clock in the morning all the way till 3. It's crazy.
Sleep on Monday.
Sleep on
Yeah.
That's
Book
what the trick
Monday
is.
off.
I woke up on Monday. Well, I was like comatose on Monday because I'd booked it off. I was like, my husk, like all my.
You actually became a husk.
I became a Vallorn spawn husk. Now all my muscles ached. I was just absolutely exhausted. Like I need to. Oh God. But yeah, so that was. Yeah, but that's the thing though, because I woke up on Sunday, felt all right.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm all right. I'm good to go. So this was my turn to monster, and on this day in the Navarre, we're going to be fighting a Vallorn spawn horror. I didn't quite know what a Vallorn spawn horror was.
It's the horror. You mentioned this last episode.
Yeah. So we're monstering for this, and I'm like, do you know what? I fancy being a bit of a tanky Vallorn spawn, so I put my chainmail on. The idea was I was some Dornish knight that had fallen.
Yeah.
Got my chainmail on, brought my sword. You're not allowed intelligent weapons, so no bows, no shields. You're just kind of aimlessly swinging at stuff.
Yeah.
And we get to the briefing, and the horror was a little. So, like, the mask was like an orc face that had dissolved.
Oh.
You could see, like, bone, it had gone all black. They had, like, massive, like, fungal growths, kind of. If you look on the Echoes of the Ancients page, it was. I think it's Untrodden Dreams Photography was one of the photographers, and they've got some really good pictures of it. But it had like these big multicolored like fungal growths coming off of it, like it was oozing. They had this massive kind of bark on their arm, which acted as their shield, and then this horrifying claw. And we were husks, and we were told your job is to defend them. The horror won't die until all the husks are dead. So the horror is immune to hits, immune to anything until the husks die.
Oh God.
And we were told to kind of protect them, stick around. Remember, you can heal with 15 seconds of roleplay. And when the horror goes down, an orange smoke grenade's going to go off. And you all get back up again. And the other horrifying thing was, like, right, hold up your hands if you've got a weapon above this size. I had a weapon, they went, you've all got 6, how many cleaves? 4 cleaves.
Yeah.
Crikey.
Hand up if you've got anything bigger than this, like polearms and stuff. You've all got 4 impales. We were fighting Navar. Navar wear leather armor. Leather armor doesn't do shit against impale.
Oh.
So we all get onto the field. We all get to the other end. We're around the horror, and we start shambling towards them. And then, like, they all seem prepared. They're Navarre. They're Vallorn. They're fighting the Vallorn. They've done this before, you know. We fight as Thorn. They're all ready to go. Impale. And then impale to the chest if you're wearing leather armor, 0 hits. If you haven't had the soup, 30 seconds bleed count. The terror that just kind of rippled throughout as all of a sudden they were very aware that this shit's going like downhill.
Yeah.
The horror kind of comes along. Obviously, people are hitting it, but it's not doing anything. It's charging at people. This was the listener I told you about last week. So they were playing the horror, which was a great laugh. Charging at people, like strike down in them as they kind of try to get to it. Immune until we're all down. And then again, I end up because it's really fun just being unintelligent and following noise.
Yeah.
And there was this one person I went towards, and they had no armor on their legs, so I just cleave, take out their legs. They fall to the ground, and then as they get healed and still kind of shambling in their direction, cleave, got their legs again, and they're like, ah! And all you can just hear is screams, like physic, like screams from people on the floor as the husks are wandering through. And then there was they were telling us to be strict on your executions. So I got executed, and then like eventually I start to shamble up next to someone, turn to them, cleave, and they're like, ah! So like it was just literal terror waving throughout. I looked around at one point, and just half of Navarre was on the floor, like screaming.
Oh God.
There was like some really like decked out highborn that were kind of trying to do stuff, so they weren't getting impaled or whatever. They were all right.
Yeah.
But as you're kind of wandering towards them, corralling them up, they were shitting themselves. They managed to kill the horror. I think the horror got back up again at one point.
Oh wow.
And they managed to kill the horror. I think Boris was on the field. So the ogre Hulk was on the field. So he starts wandering around. It was absolutely terrible. And then they all run back into camp because they've killed the horror. Right, Vallorn, go through the other entrance. So we start wandering into camp. And again, as they kind of start wandering through, taking people out. Cleve, there was a highborn who was being very clever, and their sword and their shield, and they were like whistling and smacking their shield. We all just kind of shambled after them. They were herding us away. But then there was just more and more of us. I was like, eventually, we're going to surround this person. But they managed to kind of back off. But just chaos in the camp. You could see like the non-coms like in the pub trying to stay alive. You can see one person who wasn't really fighting but just had an axe, just kind of like just in case. It was absolute chaos. They managed to win the day. We continued to have no deaths. But it was so cool.
That is
just
crazy.
Oh, just kind of wandering around, shambling around. And I was like, right, off you go. Get rid of your kit. Ran back, put my normal kit back on. Has there been a camp invasion?
Oh my
As I run
goodness!
in. Like, where have you been?
Picking berries.
I was berry picking for the camp. What's happened? So yeah.
Oh, see, we all just live on berries. Clearly,
Love our berries.
Love our berries.
Berries are very important for the camp.
Yeah.
Very important.
I mean, how else we make our wine?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fruit berry wine.
Wines and ciders.
And meads. Bone bead mead.
Bone beamy.
Bone bead. But yeah, that was really good fun. And then we had this summer regio that was going on. And I was very much been like, I've been speaking to the summer mage. I am going to this place. That was it. I need some information from them that I don't want to say too much about. But they said, I'll give you that information if you defeat the heralds soldiers at this kind of challenge. I was like, fuck yeah. And we all march off to this regio and we walk into this kind of area of like real strong feeling. You feel like you need to brag about your accomplishments and talk about everything you've done. And as we're kind of in the woods, we hear a voice that I didn't recognize, but Summer Mage did. It was like, hello? Summer Mage, are you there? And it was the gardener.
Yeah.
Herald I told you about. And the Spring Mage I'm with goes, oh, yes, hi, gardener. I've come back. And he goes, I thought you were coming tomorrow. And she's like, it is tomorrow. He's like, it's been 20 years. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Time must run differently in the Summer Realm. He's like, oh, well, I've thought about you very much, and I missed you. I'm afraid I can't stay for the challenges, but I must leave. But I've got you a little present. And then the box kind of drops out of nowhere, and it had a few trinkets in, which I like found out in play. I don't want to say what they were, but like a nice box of trinkets that were very kind of like personal to the encounter that this Summer Mage had with them. And then they disappeared off. So it's just this night. I didn't get to do my challenge, but it was nice to have this kind of the most wholesome herald.
That was so sad, though.
Oh, I've been
waiting
thinking
20 years.
Oh no, in his little garden, waiting for her to come. I love the gardener. I think my gardener he was very sweet. And then we all headed back. A skein of years was done on the axe that they'd found the day before. I am not going to say anything more than that.
Yeah.
But they found some pretty spicy stuff about this axe, potentially, that is currently in the hands of, again, someone I won't... In fact, Alex, if you could just send this bit out.
We know who it is.
You know who it is.
Told us,
Never mind.
don't
Don't have to bother. They have this very spicy axe, which is interesting. And then, that was kind of time out. It was a really good weekend. Honestly, Eerielight, I can't say thank you enough. It was such a fun event.
I might try and go to one of these ones next year.
Honestly, don't get me wrong, though obviously it was points where it could be very deadly, but it was so much fun.
I feel like I'll be comfortable if I've done enough in my character to try and take those risks a bit more next year.
Yeah, but I guess one of those things...
Even just the monstering sounds fun, to be fair.
Yeah, to be fair, you could have...
and no one died, did they? Like, they're quite careful.
No one died. I don't think there was any out-of-character injuries. I think there was one, but I think everything was all right in the end. Very much like... There was not really any character... There was no character deaths, apart from like the small rolls slip up.
But that was amended.
There was, like I say, there was like the safety was fantastic, paramount. The players were fantastic. Like, I had an absolutely wonderful time. I forgot to say, I chatted with a bunch of Highborn, which was some really funny role play. It was just a really lovely, lovely time. Oh, I can't recommend it enough. Like, the monster was so funny. And it's not very often you get to Empire, like, monster, right?
Monsters,
yeah, like you get to be orcs or Yagara or whatever. But you got to be, like, if you want to go experience being a monster, I would 100% recommend going to the Eerielight games. They've done some good stuff in the past.
I think that's what's got me most tempted.
Yeah, honestly, just seeing you in your Dryad kit.
I want those titties.
No, but like, seriously, it was kind of like you can, if you wanted to go to one of these events, experience it, you can do a couple of things. You can crew it, and you can be these monsters, and you can be another character, or you can play it but volunteer to monster for all the combat encounters. Ooh. So the role play bits and the downtime bits, you can be your character, and then you can monster stuff. Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Nietzsche, where were you? I was just under the table drinking again.
Very Nietzsche to not actually show up for the battles.
Nietzsche disappeared somewhere into the woods of Broceliande, came back half cut and with some strange object.
To be fair, Nietzsche, because you had a OC injury at the last event, so you didn't actually fight with your men, you could just say that Nietzsche's injured.
Yeah.
He can't fight.
Yeah.
Nietzsche's always injured. The old war ankle from Zenith.
There you go.
It was such good fun. 100% recommend it. Like I said, thanks to Eerielight. Thanks to Untrodden Dreams for the photos. They were fantastic. And then all the players, everyone listening that came, I hope you had a great time. I loved it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing with us.
Thanks.
Really
next year I'll be writing and taking your money, Sugar Daddy Morgan.
Honestly, it was like I said, absolute laugh. Having to drag my kit off afterwards was a nightmare, cleaning my tent. But
yeah,
it was, like
you're just crusted with mud.
Oh yeah, that's a good point because it did look awfully muddy.
It would take I had to take my tent somewhere to hose it down because my garden wasn't
definitely a Navar event.
Oh, Navarre as hell. But yes, thank you very much everybody for listening. We are back next week. We're going to be talking pre-LARP.
Pre-LARP!
Get ready for it. I can't believe we're fucking here.
It's been so long.
A little bit of a sting, tease, whatever. The episode's going to be a wee bit early. Not sure what day yet, but because we want people to be able to catch it before you get to Empire.
Yeah, hopefully so you can listen to it on the way down.
Yeah, exactly.
Traveling.
Can't wait to see you all in the field in a week.
Yep.
Super excited. I'm almost very excited for the Thursday so we can just talk to people normally.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Like seeing people out of character on Thursday would be lovely. Yeah, if you want to come say hi, feel free.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It'd be nice to have a chat.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be great.
I can't believe it's been 6 months. Or whatever.
Yeah, I can. It's been a long 6 months.
I've literally just renewed all my leave for the year at work, so I've been entering all in madly. So, I've got all this time left over to do other LARPs.
A little sneaky thing as well. I asked for a little traumatic wound as a treat.
Ooh.
So in my player pack, there's going to be a traumatic wound.
Yeah, you said this.
Yeah,
so as soon as time hits,
something interesting is going to happen. But yeah, no, very excited to see you all. Thank you everyone for listening. And
get on the hype train.
Get back for pre-LARP next week. Bye.